Alright gamers, welcome in to Retro Timed. I'm Nosaj Ttimmed. Boy oh boy, my anxiety's picking up today because people just are not being cool today. They're really getting on my last nerve. I've had people like scream at me since yesterday, and I don't know what the problem is, and my anxiety in my chest is really picking up again. They're not clearly don't getting people's health like is worth more than anything. And it upsets me because I go through this a lot because they have problems where they sit there and have to scream at me about stuff. And I don't understand the purpose of why everybody gets so, like, mad at me about stuff. I'm the one being put through the ringer almost all year long due to some people not understanding when somebody disagrees with something or when somebody says no to something. You know, there's this like thing where you say no and people get upset with you. You disagree with something. People get upset with you and rage at you. It's like, do you guys all act like children that need to be put into a jail or something? Because you're literally screaming at people for what? Having a disagreement with something you do? That's totally irrational to be. That is not a rational way to be an adult. And yet people will go and do it anyway just because they don't really understand that people disagree with them. It gets on my last nerve because this has been since the other day. Okay, now I agreed with something Melanie Mack said on the internet. Okay, half of the internet, a vast majority of everybody on the internet didn't agree with her. But everybody seems to be like yelling at me. The past 2 days, I've woken up to people just screaming at me. Last night before I went to bed, I got people being mad at me because I'm not accepting homosexuality into, or telling me telling me that where I'm reading the Bible is wrong. And that, like, even though it says in there that angels came to a whole entire city and wiped the whole entire city out due to the fact that homosexuality was a sin. I've had people argue with me about that one too. And it's like, okay, so what are you arguing with me about at this point? Because, like, are you just mad that I'm not accepting homosexuality? Because I never did accept homosexuality. Maybe back when I was younger I did, but as I've grown older, I don't accept it because I've been through incidences that make me not accept it. You know, I've had a relationship torn away from me due to homosexuality. Her homosexual friend got mad at me and took partly ruined my relationship along with my family. So I don't know who to blame on that one. But I'm not accepting homosexuality whatsoever at all here. Like, I don't know what else to say to you people. Because I'm not there to bow down to any of you. That's the thing, is like, you can get mad at me and tell me I'm wrong all you want. And expect me to, like, have this mentality where you act like I'm supposed to, like, bow down to you and agree with everything you say just to make you happy. Reality, the truth is, if you're all coming after me over these statements and you're going after her over those statements, we're not there to be your friends. All right? We are not there to be your friend. We are not there to, to tell you it's okay to have butt sex with somebody. We're not there to do all that. All right? So, or it's not, or to tell you that it's okay that, you're a transgender person. God doesn't, that stuff, that's stuff that, isn't, it's not accepted in here. I don't know how to tell you that without. I've had so many people attack me over this subject, and they attacked me over the fact that I'm following Melanie Mack and agreeing with what she says on Reddit. I've had like 20 people go off of me in the past 24 hours. And I had somebody uh in my Discord also on top of it going off of me for stuff. They just randomly go off of me every day like they have like some sort of issue where if I'm not up by a certain time or not doing something by a certain time, they go off of me. They say some really awful stuff to me, and it's really been upsetting me lately. It's been upsetting me to the point where I'm having to turn around and say stuff to them that I'm not being really mean, but there needs to be some sort of thing that needs to happen, okay? If you know, if your parents aren't correcting you, all right, they should have. They should have corrected you a long time ago. All right? You can't go through life thinking what you're doing is okay all the time, especially when it comes down to what? Multiple people going after somebody over sexuality? Like, that was never normal in the 90s. People didn't create mobs over sexuality. Like, people didn't create mobs over, like, straight people or anything like that. That's extremely weird, okay? And what if that happens one day? What if we do get this? What if we do get the straight mob? We're gonna see the homosexuality people. We're gonna see the homosexuals like they're a conniption fit then. You know, so I look at it this way: when that day comes, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay with that because then we're on the right track again. But until that day comes, I'm just gonna keep praying for that day that the straight mob, yes, there's gonna be a straight mob of people, and they're gonna go against the homosexuals, and they're gonna go against the LGBTQ, and and they're gonna be just as bad as the LGBTQ is right now, but they're gonna make more sense. You know, we can't keep having this, okay? I like the past few days, like this has been a weekly occurrence for me where I'll have like a good week and then I'll have like 2 to 3 days where people like go off on me for nothing sometimes, or like go after me on an agreement based upon the fact I disagree with homosexuality. You know, it's amazing what people will get mad at somebody for, especially because they're getting mad at people for something sexually based, okay? You're getting mad at people because they're not accepting sex, a form of sex. You're getting mad at people for that. Is that normal? Is it normal to get mad at people for not accepting homosexual sex? I don't think that's normal. But then again, you got a bunch of people getting mad out there over people spouting they don't care for the porn industry. One industry I don't care about. But you know what? People will dig at you, look at you, and be like, well, you're doing this. No, let me correct you. There's a difference between things, okay? I have people sitting there claiming I look at porn, okay? And I do not. Let me tell you the truth. Okay, there's a difference between looking at a picture of a person naked, a woman, and there's a difference between people having sex in a picture. There's a big difference, okay? One is acceptable because it shows the female anatomy, all right, and it's not dirty, all right? The other one is it's two people having sex inside of a picture, which we're not supposed to be seeing, all right? We're supposed to be doing that kind of stuff behind closed doors. They talk about it, yes, in here, but they don't, take notice how like nobody's watching it. The problem with us is we live in cuckoo land. We live in Toontown where people are doing all the stuff they shouldn't, and then they perceive it as normal. And where this line of thinking is coming from, it has to stem from a really low IQ. And I hate to say it, but like the people fighting with me, They all have like this really, really low IQ. They have so their arguments aren't their arguments aren't exactly base level arguments. What I mean by that is they're not a solid foundation. Okay, they'll come at me with something and I'll argue back. Okay, I won't. It's not that I argue back. I'll answer something back, and then they'll argue, and the argument doesn't even connect back to what any of us originally said. This argument I witnessed yesterday was a guy going from one subject to the other, and then having no real connection to the argument he had with me to begin with, which which makes no sense. And for some reason, I told him about how, like, in the Bible, when the angels came to the city, they wiped the entire city out, okay? Due to due to the homosexual act of that guy, which he came to the house, and if you remember, he asked, I think it was Noah. Was it Noah, or was it was somebody else? I'm trying to remember, but it was early on in the Bible, where the guy comes to the house and he demands to have sex with the guys inside the house, okay? And if you remember correctly, he he wouldn't allow him to do it at first, but what happened is he went inside the house. The angels were in the area. The angels actually showed up and pretty much just decided they were gonna like wipe the whole entire city out because of that act of sin. And and these people, they will argue with you about that, and they'll be like, well, you're saying people are angels and blah blah blah, and like, no, I never said anything like that. I'm basically describing a story to you. But these people, they are so their IQ is like super low because homosexuality, for some reason, it seems like it causes a really low IQ. You'll notice it when you look at it. That is why the transgender community is doing what it does. You got to look at it from a standpoint. There's a low IQ. There's a low IQ there if you really look at it. That's why they look stupid doing what they do. You know, I'm not, you know, I'm just here to try to state something facts I see. But if you can't see that they have a low IQ by how they dress and what they're doing, then there should be an IQ test on like homosexual people and transgender people just to see what the IQ is. Because the IQs in those people, they seem very, very low. And you'll notice it. And it just like, it's like, you're okay with being this stupid? Like, this shouldn't be normal, you know? I'm just, I'm just saying what I noticed, man. They seem like they have a really low IQ because nobody in the right mind wants to look that stupid unless you're really, really going through something in life and you're seeking attention. Then you want to do that. But like, it just seems like it's about a low IQ. Anyway, let's get into reading chapter 43. Um, I know that was a little bit of a rant, but I don't know how long I'm gonna go today. I'm gonna try to read this and keep it as short as possible, and then get into gaming news. But later on today, I'm gonna have a stream on my Bible channel, so you can come over there and we'll talk more about this stuff over there. If you really wanna hear what I have to say about all this and being harassed by all these like people accepting of this, I I I really can't say some of the stuff I want to absolutely say here due to the fact of YouTube, you know, YouTube uh coming down pretty hard on people for saying what they want. So I have to go over to like Kick and really, really say what I want. Kick, you have more freedom to say what you want, which I'm on Kick right now, but it's YouTube will not let me say half the stuff I want to say. Let's just clarify that, you know, and that's why you gotta watch what you say, even on like places like Twitter, because we have Mister. I'm gonna we have too many dictators in the world and not enough like people just being people. That's what it is. So, all right, let me go ahead and record this. Alrighty, everybody. Welcome in to Nosaj Time domain, and I'm Nosaj Time. And today we will be reading chapter 43, the second journey to Egypt. So let's get into it. We're on a story about I think his brothers now. So Jacob's brothers. Or Joseph's brothers. Sorry. All right. The second journey to Egypt. Now the famine was still severe in the land. So when they had eaten all the grain they had brought from Egypt, their father said to them, "Go back and buy us a little more food." But Judah said to him, "The man warned us solemnly, 'You will not see my face again unless your brother is with you. If you will send our brother along with us, we will go down and buy food for you. But if you will not send him, we will go down, because the man said to us, 'You will not see my face again unless your brother is with you.'" So they still don't realize that that's Joseph, their brother. So Israel asked, "Why did you bring this trouble on me by telling the man you had another brother?" They replied, "The man questioned us closely, but about ourselves and our family. Is your father still living?" He asked us. Do you have another brother?" We simply answered his question. Now, were we to know, he would say, "Bring your brother down here." Judah said to Israel's father, "Send a boy along with me, and we will go at once, so that we and you and our children may live and not die. I myself guarantee his safety. You can hold me personally responsible for him. If I do not bring back to you, and if I do not bring him back to you and set him here before you, I will bear the blame before you, all my family, as it is. If we had not delayed, we could have gone and returned twice." So they're worried about going back because of all the stuff that's going on. They want to try to make sure everything goes absolutely as planned, because they feel afraid for what happened, and that's why they're really trying to be okay, I'm gonna do things right this time. I'm gonna make sure everything is done right, and with Joseph doing what he does, it kind of scares them, and all that. So then their father Israel said to them, "If it must be, then do this. Put some of the best product of the land in your bag and take them down to the man as a gift. A little balm, a little honey, some spice and myrrh, some pistachio nuts and almonds. Take double the amount of silver with you, for you must return the silver that was put back into the mouths of your sacks. Perhaps it was a mistake. Take your brother also, and go back to the man once, and may God Almighty grant you mercy before the man, so that he will let your brother and Benjamin come back with you. As for me, I am if I am braved, I am bereaved. So if I am bereaved, I am bereaved." What does that even mean? Hold on, let me check that out. Alright, so I'm gonna look this word up. I want to see what that means. It was bereaved. Alright. Depraved of a close relation or a friend through their death. Alright, so he's afraid that he's gonna die, and that's why that's why he's doing what he's doing right now. So fortunately, um, that's what he thinks is gonna happen. So, alright. So the men took the gifts and doubled the amount of silver, and Benjamin also. They hurried down to Egypt and presented themselves to Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward of his house, "Take these men to my house, slaughter an animal, and prepare a meal. They are to eat with me at noon." The man did as Joseph told him and took the men to Joseph's house. Now the men were frightened when they were taken to his house. They thought, "We were brought here because of the silver that was put back into our sacks the first time. He wants to attack us and overpower us and seize us as slaves and take our donkeys." So they went up to Joseph's steward and spoke to him at the entrance to the house. "We beg your pardon, our lord," they said. "We came down here the first time to buy food, but at the place where we stopped for the night, we opened our sacks, and each of us found silver, the exact weight in the amounts of the sacks. We have brought back with us. We have also brought additional silver with us to buy food. We don't know who puts our silver in our sacks." "All right," he said. "Don't be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has given you treasure in your sack. I received your silver." Then he brought Simon out of them. The steward looked to the men in Joseph's house, gave them water to wash their feet, and provided fodder for the donkeys. They prepared their gifts for Joseph's arrival at noon, because they had heard that they were to eat there. When Joseph came home, they presented to him the gift they had brought into the house, and they bowed down before him to the ground. He asked them how they were, and then he said, "How is your aged father? You told me about. You told me about, yeah. Is he still living?" They replied, "Your servant, our father, is still alive and well." And they bowed down, uh, prostrating themselves before him. As he looked about and saw his brother Benjamin, his own mother's son, he asked, "Is this your youngest brother, the one you told about me?" He said, "God be gracious to you, my son." Deeply moved at the sight of his brother, Joseph hurried out and looked for a place to weep. So, yeah, he's getting emotional because he just met his youngest brother now. So, he's just getting emotional because of it. He went into his private room and wept there. After he had washed his face, he came out, controlling himself, served the food. They served him by himself, the brothers by themselves, and Egyptians who ate with him by themselves, because Egyptians could not eat with Hebrew, for he for that is detestable to Egyptians. That's interesting. So Hebrews and Egyptians can't eat. Huh, I wonder what that's about. The men had been stated before him in order of their ages, from the firstborn to the youngest, and they looked at each other in astonishment when portions were served to them. Joseph's table, Benjamin, portion was 5 times much as anyone else's. So they fasted and drank freely with him. All right. So we'll get into 44 in the next stream. So as you can see, yeah, Joseph wanted them to come back. So the gold, I mean the silver, it was pretty much a blessing for them. After Joseph saw what he did to them, he gave, I guess Joseph, there was a blessing thrown back that God told Joseph to give to his brothers. So that's why that happened. But yeah, I like this story. We got a little bit more yet. So I'm not sure how much more we got of Joseph, but the story's like getting close to being done. Oh, okay. So we're almost on Exodius. So into Exodius. Once we get to Exodius, the story with Joseph ends. So, but that's it for me. Let's can't really spend too much time talking, but yeah. So I want you know, how do I want to put this? When you start reading the Bible and you start learning the way of the Bible and what God's way is, you're gonna learn that there's a lot of people out there that'll try to tell you differently. And within the past couple days, I've been having that myself. Um, Basically, people are coming to me, giving me a hard time due to the fact that like I follow this. All right, so there's a YouTuber out there that is going through a lot of drama too, due to the fact that like they follow the Bible and they understand the Bible, what the Bible means and all that. Apparently, you always end up becoming the bad guy if you're reading the Bible and you follow the Bible, right? People are out there trying to make a form of the Bible up that just doesn't exist. All right, it doesn't exist. And I've been finding that quite a bit recently. I've been having people really get on me about it, and I keep having to argue with it. I've had like people. So the people who like they spout a bunch of random knowledge about the Bible to you. Those are the ones you want to look out for. All right, they're the ones that are trying to feel like they have the upper hand, because sometimes people will say stuff and it sounds extremely smart, so you'll listen to them and you'll follow in to what they say. And my thing about that is like somebody did that in my comment section yesterday. It was like a whole speech about how like the Bible went from this to this to this, and I'm like, why don't you just read the Bible instead of telling me a history lesson? All right? And that's what these guys do, is these guys that manipulate situations, you'll learn that they manipulate it simply because they're using, they're stating stuff that sounds like it might be knowledgeable for the Bible, but know nothing about the Bible when it comes down to it. So I've been having to tell people recently, I'm like, you should read the Bible instead of sitting here telling me what I should understand about the Bible. Because what I'm understanding about the Bible is something that is in the Bible. I don't know what you're reading, but that was never the Bible, okay? And you got people they'll sit there and they'll continue to fight with you over it. And yeah, so, and you know, it's like they say, all these people fighting with you, this is God saying, hey, you're right with me, but those people right there, they want to argue. So, all I gotta say is watch out for who you listen to. You're gonna run into those people a lot, and they'll cause so many problems that you don't need it. And just don't listen to them. Watch, learn it for yourself. Don't listen to what anybody says, because we see there's a lot of people out there that are making up stuff from the Bible because they didn't read it and they didn't learn it to begin with. That's easy to do. You can pull scripture from anywhere on the internet, and the person will make something up about the Bible because they pulled a scripture up. Just remember, you can do that all over the internet. You know, um, I don't understand why people are arguing with me over it because this book, I'm reading this book, but they're arguing against me because I'm reading the actual book. Like, and I'm sitting here running a channel teaching some of the stuff from the Bible, so it's amazing. Anyway, I'm gonna say a prayer and get out of here. I just want to say that short message to everybody. Don't fall into, the traps is all I gotta say. Don't fall into these people spouting Bible knowledge but not know anything about the Bible. I had a guy argue with me yesterday about how, in the very beginning of the Bible, angels came and wiped out a whole entire city over homosexuality. And I had a guy literally argue with me over that one, and it wasn't even about, you know, he didn't even argue about what we were arguing. He was throwing in other stuff that wasn't even connected to the argument. So I'm like, what is going on with you guys? But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, all I gotta say is read the Bible for yourself, learn it. You can learn from me or you can learn from anybody, but read the Bible yourself to get the understanding. And with that said, let's say a prayer and get out of here. Lord Jesus Christ, I pray to you today, to, anybody bullying anybody today over Bible knowledge or disagreement over homosexuality, Lord, make their bullying turn into blessings. Make them turn into blessings so they can have a wonderful day. Send your light to the people, teaching them that homosexuality isn't a good thing, Lord. We need to get this back. We need to get on the right track again. The outburst of the outburst of people going against Christians on homosexuality is very, very high right now. I know Christianity has come back with force, and I just pray that Christianity gets bigger and bigger so we can wipe out what that is. Lord, it's time people start understanding your truth and what you want to hear, Lord, and that's what I'm here to do. That's what a couple of us here to do. But Lord, bring people to Christ and have them read the Bible. In Jesus' name, amen. So there you have it. All right, today I started off the day getting screamed at by a bunch of people since last night. People just want to argue with me about this, so that's why I said that prayer the way I did. But anyway, if you like this here, please hit the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. I put these up every day, and also hit the notification bell to get more from me. And God bless you and have a wonderful day. All right, so yeah, it's been one heck of a past 24 hours for me. People just being crazy over stuff, and I'm not lying. Hold on. Back when I stopped accepting people of homosexuality and stuff like that was a little bit ago, actually. And I did it for a lot of reasons, and it's because, um, you know, the past few months, the past few years, it's just been getting out of control. This is the worst I've ever seen this kind of stuff. And it's like they want you to bow down to them. For if you don't bow down to them, they're gonna hurt you and they're gonna ruin your career and all that. And it's just like, dude, this is why things are getting worse. Things are getting worse because you're making it worse. You guys are out there literally getting mad at people for not bowing down to you guys now. Like you're kings, okay? No offense, but I don't want to bow down to no king doing butt stuff. All right? I don't want to bow down to a king who's doing butt stuff. The only king I'm going to bow down to is this one here around my neck, which is Jesus Christ. All right? I don't understand why butt stuff is I don't understand why people make butt stuff into like this like I don't understand it. We're in a society where like we're so accepting of that stuff that we made it where we have to start bowing down to it. That's weird. But I digress because you know what? I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that community to come to an end. I'm waiting for somebody to be like, we're shutting this thing down. Because this is insane. I never, in my entire life of being alive, I've never. Huh, that's weird. Hold on a second. I'm gonna do something here real quick. I've never in my entire life ever seen this kind of stuff happen over this. Like, the fact that like I'm even experiencing stuff like this all over the fact that like I'm not bowing down to a certain group of people, it's insane, man. It's insane. I don't know who the heck thinks that I was ever said I was gonna bow down to that stuff. You know? There's something off looking about a lot of it, and that's where I like that's where I don't get how people are just accepting of it, you know? I have people literally braiding me in a Reddit, which let's see. Oh, no, not okay, nobody's doing anything, but like I'm having people go after me inside of a Reddit because I'm agreeing with somebody. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. This is why, like, the video game community, I try my best to stay in the video game community. But man, like, there's certain things I just will never accept. And that's what people need to start understanding about me is like, I don't bow down to what people want me to. I don't know. I don't bow down to what people want from me, you know? It's not, there's just some things are not, like, for not everybody's gonna bow down to what you want them to bow down to, you know? How comes you can't like how comes people who, you know, how comes people that how do I want to say this? How comes people that are doing stuff sexually want you to accept them for doing that thing, you know? It's not like me telling people, hey, you know what? Accept me because, you know, I'm gonna have sex with the girl one day. I want you to accept me for that. Alright. Diablo 4 fans should keep an eye on January 18th. Diablo 4 fans will want to mark Thursday, January 18th on their calendar as that's the day the developer update video will be released for game's upcoming season 3. Diablo 4 is a live service game that Blizzard hopes to support for years. The most exciting Diablo 4 updates will be its premium DLC expansion that give players substantial new content to experience, but in between those big drops will be seasonal updates that are smaller but should still give hardcore fans reason to boot the game. So far, there have been two Diablo 4 seasons. Diablo 4 Season 1 was hugely controversial at first because of some balance changes that were made that upset the community. Diablo 4 Season 2 was better received, going with a vampire theme and calling itself Season of Blood. Blizzard recently confirmed that Diablo Season 4 will kick off on January 28th, 23rd, through details about what the season will entitle have yet to be shared. The first major Diablo 4 Season 3 detail will be revealed on January 18th at 9 a.m. PT in a develop boy developer update video hosted by Associate Director of Community Adam Fletcher, game design manager Daniel Tengui, quest designer Madeline James, and lead classic designer Adam Jackson. The video will reveal Diablo 4 Season 3 gameplay feature, season journey, quality of life updates, and new competitive leaderboard system called the Gauntlet. The stream will conclude with a Q&A session. Thursday, January 18th at 9 a.m. PT. If Diablo 4 Season 3 looks promising enough, it has the potential to not only please existing players, but also bring back lapsed players that may have put the game down after finishing the main story. If not, it's probable that a lot of Diablo 4 players will come back when the first game's major expansion pack drops. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred DLC will be released later this year, and what's been revealed so far around exciting. For those that may not have kept up with Diablo 4's Vessel of Hatred DLC, is bringing to the table the new expansion will add the Nathantu region to the game, along with a brand new class. Diablo 4's new class has yet to be revealed, but fans can expect more information on Vessel of Hatred DLC later in the year. In the more immediate future, Diablo 4 fans can look forward to the developer update on January 18th, followed by Season 3 launch on January 23rd. We hope you like the items we recommend and discussed. Okay, so new update is coming that way, guys. Look out for that one. Oh, what's going on here? Two Game Boy Advance classic RPGs are coming to Nintendo Switch Online. Nintendo is making two classic Game Boy Advance games, Golden Sun and Golden Sun is the Lost Age, available on the Switch via Nintendo Switch Expansion Pack service on January 17th, 2024. These two fan favorite titles from the 2000s are the latest additions to the service's growing treasure trove on nostalgia following the inclusion of three Nintendo 64 games in December 2023. The Golden Sun series began on Game Boy Advance all the way back in 2001 and became a hit for many genre fans, especially those who particularly enjoyed RPGs. However, the franchise had an entry since hasn't had an entry since Golden Sun Dark Dawn, which was released for the Nintendo DS in 2010. Golden Sun and its direct sequel, Golden Sun The Lost Age, appearing on the Nintendo Switch Online, marks the first time the title will be ported over to the contemporary platform, opening them up to new generations of players. Nintendo of America made the announcement on its official Twitter account, dropping a release date for January 17th and releasing a short trailer to showcase the Golden Sun games. Gameplay to refresh everyone's memory. Switch fans were happy about this announcement, with some looking forward to playing a critically acclaimed game for the first time. Like many retro ports on Nintendo Switch, the games and how they look and sound remain intact from over 20 years ago. Some improvements, such as high definition graphics and smooth first person FPS frames per second frame rates. Alright, the title should easily translate to modern platform, as well as Golden Sun was heralded as one of the most beautiful Game Boy Advance games of its time. I saw this yesterday. While the series has been quite quiet until this major announcement by Nintendo, there was some buzz about the franchise some years ago when the trademark of Golden Sun was renewed in Japan back in 2018. However, fans' excitement for potential comeback was eventually dashed when new updates about the contemporary sequel surfaced, and it was assumed that Nintendo simply renewed the trademark to keep owning the IP. The Golden Sun games and other titles being added to online subscription platforms is a welcome way to breathe new life into franchises that are already considered retro classics, with subscription services such as Nintendo Switch Online Gaming gaining more popularity over individual game releases as time goes on. More deep cuts from past would increase their value and make them further lucrative, especially among players looking for experiences that are different from today's mainstream gaming. All right, let's see. Oh, it's raining right now. Hey, classic Hitman game gets Nintendo Switch release date. This is one I might want to share over to Twitter. Hitman fans are in for a treat as the classic stealth action game, Hitman Blood Money Reprisal, is making its way to the Nintendo Switch on January 25th, 2024. IO Interactive collaboration with Feral Interactive has just dropped an action-packed game trailer of this Hitman entry, revealing Agent 47's next assignment on popular consoles. On a popular console, Hitman Blood Money is a stealth video game that released in 2006 as part of Hitman series. Developed by IO Interactive, the game follows the professional assassin Agent 47 as he carries out a series of contract killing, navigating through various locations to eliminate targets discreetly. Players are encouraged to approach missions creatively, choosing from a variety of methods to accomplish their objectives. In October, developer announced that this classic game would soon receive a remastered treatment and a port for Android, iOS, and eventually for the Nintendo Switch under the name Hitman Blood Money Reprisal. I forgot my mouse is wonky. Alright. Whoops. Following the Hitman Blood Money Reprisal announcement and a well-received launch on iOS and Android, Nintendo Switch users can mark January 25th on their calendar as that's when the game officially hit the platform. The gameplay trailer quickly showcases the iconic Hitman experience, with Agent 47 bringing his lethal prowess to the Nintendo Switch, drawing inspiration from later games in the series. Hitman Blood Money Reprisal introduced quality of life upgrades such as instinct mode, a mini-map, and trespass alerts. Whether players prefer the classic controls or modern layout, and whether they're playing docked or handheld, Hitman Blood Money Reprisal promises to seamlessly adapt the Nintendo Switch experience. As for what was showcased in the trailer, Hitman's enthusiasts who have already experienced the remastered and enhanced versions of Blood Money on mobile devices, featuring full support for controllers, keyboard and mouse, and customizable touchscreen interface, can anticipate a similar level of adaptation on the Nintendo Switch. The classic Hitman story is poised to provide a nostalgic yet refreshed gaming experience on the versatile Switch platform. Hitman Blood Money Reprisal will be priced at $29.99, but players also have a pre-order option available with a 15% discount. Some players who already tried the mobile version for the game showed some excitement for the announcement, while others, although still excited about Hitman's Switch port, mentioned some technical issues on Android version. Hitman titles are some of the best spy espionage games, and their legacy still endures. As January 25th approaches, Hitman fans on a Nintendo Switch have a lot of reason to be excited. I mean, I've never played. I think I tried like one Hitman game, but they're all like apparently like a lot of people love these games. So but I'm gonna chat before I leave, and I'm gonna advertise that over to Twitter. So, but yeah, it's been a wild morning since I woke up. Wild day yesterday. Um, I'm gonna be honest. Um, all the grief I'm getting for somebody standing up for something is pretty amazing. Okay, I'm agreeing with them, not because not because I like them, but because I'm agreeing with them solely for the purpose because I agree with what they say. Okay? That's the point. That's where people don't understand me. All right? I've been called, I've been, the reason I agree with people was because, I'll admit, I've already had disagreements with, have already been things openly that I showed you guys that I disagreed with what Melanie Mac says. All right, sometimes very little, but they happen sometimes. All right, and I reach out to her and I tell her, hey, you might be doing this wrong, and or like there's, in general, there are certain things I'll disagree with from time to time. But with what she's talking about right now and all the bullying that she's getting, um, I'm, I agree 100% with what she's saying. All right, the bullying should not be happening due to the fact that she's making a statement like that. Okay, we're allowed to do these things because it's part of being human being. We're allowed to stand up for what we believe in. If we, and part of the problem is we're seeing a total mass we're seeing the problems be more we're seeing the problems come up more because a lot of people have sided with the wrong side. Okay, and back in the 90s and all that, before all this became a thing, before all of it became the in thing in the flag, a lot of people weren't aboard with this, like, and I was just okay with it. I fully didn't accept it, but I was like, okay, well, I'll be okay with it. If somebody's having a problem that I know, and I don't entirely, dislike them, I'll be okay with it. Well, then a couple years after I started just being okay with it and allowing it, it just did become a bit of a problem. I witnessed it become a problem in my own life where, you know, I was allowing people to do whatever the heck they wanted. All right. So when I decided to walk away, that's what led me to walk away from half of the people I know, because my friendships became super weird. There was a point where, like, my friendship, what some of my greatest friendships came to an end because I was just feeling uncomfortable around being around them because of, I'm not, I don't know if they are, but it started coming off as like this gets the feeling of like I'm, you know, uh it's the feeling of it got weird. Let's just say that. Some things just got too weird for me to be okay with. So I had to walk away from some friends and cut some friendships off. There was one friend I had, and then even um, I walked away from him because, you know, I walked away from a lot of people because a lot of people were just they, though they were sitting there correcting my life, even if I wasn't doing anything like that. Okay, so the side that wasn't the side that wasn't doing all that, like, really, really, like, all that LGBTQ stuff. That side, the other side was going off of me. Like, they really weren't, they were really were like against me as well. So I was dealing with both sides of the fence being against me because one side one side was getting mad at me because I wasn't so accepting of them. And then the other side was mad at me because I did accept them at one point. So I lost everybody due to the fact that I chose to accept them at one point. My whole family literally disbanded me, and they kind of don't like me now because I ended up accepting them. That's where I'm by myself. Even some of my close friends, I, you know, I, it just really, at the end of the day, it's like I'm in this situation now where I'm a seeking God because I need God more than anything, because guess what? Nobody out there wants to take a side with me. I'm literally like I'm literally the only human being that ended up in this situation because you know what? You don't win. You don't win. All right? You can accept them and have your whole family hate you and have people despise you over it that don't like them, or you can do the opposite, and you're still gonna have people hate you. And that's where we ended up. And some like I don't even know. I don't even know, but like you know, it's weird, but a lot of people I've witnessed a lot of people walk away from my life, and well, I witnessed myself walk away from a lot of people in my life, and my problem with my problem with my immediate family, my mother and all them, is they don't see me as this like full grown adult and trying to raise myself. They see me as like, this back here, when I catch flack for this, when I get bullied for this kind of stuff, I don't care. I'm having more fun than the people bullying me. Those people bullying me, believe it or not, they're unhappy. They're only bullying you because they see you're happy and they're like, well, I don't like that they're happy, you know? And the other thing is like is that for a fact that half of those people that follow the LGBTQ, that bow down to it, they're unhappy. And I'll tell you why they're unhappy. Because they chose to go that direction. They didn't just choose it. They had people bullying them into going that direction. And they're not happy with themselves. So they're like, well, because I'm not happy, you're going to come along too. And you know what those people are? Those people are weak. They can't stand up for themselves. So when I see somebody like Melody Mack standing up for herself, or anybody standing up for themselves for that matter against the LGBTQ, or any homosexuality group, I'm going to praise them. Because you know what? That takes some guts. And if you get mad because we disagree with you, that's no sweat off my brow. People are crazy, man. And they'll do anything. And you can't just give up on what you're doing solely for the fact that like you need to appease a bunch of people. Trust me. There's a bunch of people on the internet that because you're not appeasing them, you're not paying attention to them, they want you to pay attention to them. And I can already tell you there's people out there that because you don't pay attention to them, they'll get mad. They'll get mad that you don't pay attention to them. And they'll get mad at you because you're busy doing your own thing. All right? I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it, but that's the best way to describe it. Is like people get mad at you because you don't pay attention to them, and it's because and when you don't pay attention to them, or like you don't follow what they do, that's why they get mad at you, because you didn't become the victim like they did. They became the victim. They're mad that you didn't become the victim. And I see it every day in my life where because I didn't choose to be the victim or choose to accept sin, I'm starting to catch flack now too. And you know what's going to keep me? You know what? I don't care. I don't care. These people are too afraid. They're too afraid to go against the grain. They'll go against the grain and then turn around and be like, tell a lie to the group over there to just still make them believe that they followed into it. God doesn't look for God doesn't look for that kind of stuff in people. God doesn't need people, God doesn't need you appeasing him and then turning around and being like, yeah, I did that because, I was just, like make something up to still appease the crowd of people that they're going against God, What is so hard? What is it that you're trying to do? Favoritism from people? Because if you're going to get favoritism from people, you ain't getting it from God then. Just some food for thought. Anyway, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go make some food. I'm going to upload a short the video, and I'll be putting a video up here on the gaming channel later on, something specifically I found out about, and I'm gonna look into it myself. But until then, guys, take it easy. God bless. Keep gaming, and see you next time.